250, there was an emperor who came to power named Decius. And this is right about 1,000 years after Rome had been founded. Rome was founded 754 AUC, which is about 750 years before Christ's birth. And now here at 250, getting close to a millennium. And you know how crazy people get around the end of a millennium. They start to think about how an age is coming to a close. And Decius was aware of this. And moreover, the Roman Empire at this point, for about 50 years, 25 years on each side of Decius's reign as emperor, had been quite chaotic. There had been many Caesars, about 20 in fact, and so it was quite chaotic. He wanted to revive the empire and reunite it around worship of the pagan deities, the classic Roman deities. And to do this, he needed for Christians to stop doing what they were doing. And so he came up with an instrument known as the libellus, which was a way to get Christians to abandon their faith, to become apostate. He didn't really want to kill them. He just wanted them to abandon Christianity and go back to the old pagan ways, old pagan gods and so forth, and the imperial cult of worshiping Caesar. So the way the libellus worked was that if a person, or when a person sacrificed to the genius of Caesar, they would get a little certificate, an official document, kind of like a driver's license, and they would carry it around with them, and anytime they were asked to show it, they would. And if a person didn't have it, then they would be given the opportunity to sacrifice. And if they didn't, eventually there were grounds, legal grounds, forensic grounds for executing them. Now this creates a huge controversy in the church, by the way, because some people just go out and buy one, kind of on the gray market or the black market, okay? So the question was, well, what do we do with Christians who fall away? You know, this is a question within the Christian community. It created a sect, a pull-away sect that remained very faithful and loyal through the persecution called the Donatists. But anyway, this libellus certificate was a tool for kind of smoking Christians out and coercing them into apostasy. Now, by the end of the 3rd century, persecution under the Emperor Diocletian had become quite extreme. If there were any church buildings or places where Christians met, those would be destroyed. Books that Christians owned would be destroyed, which may not seem like a big thing to us, but a book back then was an incredibly expensive thing to produce. Moreover, Christians saw those books, those scrolls, say like a book of a copy, a manuscript of the book of Romans, for example. They saw it to be a holy object. And on top of that, people were killed, fed to the wild beasts, and so forth and so on. So many people thought this was the end of the world. It was apocalyptic. It was so bad under Diocletian. Now, Diocletian also did something else that is going to be significant later on. He created something called the Tetrarchy. The Tetrarchy was an attempt to split up the Roman Empire into 4 big sections. And there would be 2 Augustuses and 2 Caesars. So there would be 4 leaders, 4 sections, and he would be the senior Augustus, then there would be a junior Augustus, then there would be a senior Caesar and a junior Caesar. And so 4 different men ruling 4 different quadrants of the empire, because it was a vast, sprawling empire, about 3,000 miles wide. And you can imagine how difficult it was to rule such a vast empire. And Diocletian thought that this would fix some of the logistical problems of ruling, but it actually created more problems. It didn't solve anything. And it won't be too long, within the next 2 to 3 decades, that there will be a consolidation of those 4 quadrants back into one empire. And it will be Constantine who will do that, who will finally pull that off. And so we'll see, you know, his role in all of this coming up pretty soon, okay? But anyway, Diocletian's attempt to bring stability to the empire failed, and wars will ensue between these 4 different rulers.